What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Itz-Beez-Da TrackStar, and welcome back to Dancehall Masterclass, Chapter 4. Chord structures continued, basically. So we touched upon this in the first chapter, basic chord construction, all of that type of stuff. So recently, in the WhatsApp group, somebody posts a link or post just a picture, like a screenshot or whatever, something with chord codes. You understand? Not sure if you ever hear this term before or whatever, but basically a chord code, if let's load this up. And in this folder here, this MIDI folder here with all of the scales, so they'll use a major, basically. So we'll just use C major, most common chord, pretty much. So you'll use C major. This thing is basically the whole C major scale, right? So that is what the chord codes are pertaining to. I'm just using a basic grand piano, and we'll kind of just spend a chapter focusing upon creating chords and understanding what the hell you are doing, pretty much. Nowadays, I don't really use stuff like this. I predominantly do everything by ear, and I don't really think of codes and shit like that. But for a person who just kind of learn the thing or kind of try to understand the thing, this is pretty much helpful. This is stuff I'm used to look into when I try to teach myself how to do this the right way or whatever. So basically, we have major, minor, major 7th, minor 7th, major 6th, minor 6th, and all of that type of stuff. So the thing, what you need to remember is that there are pretty much endless chord progressions or whatever. Not really say endless, you always, but there are numerous, millions or thousands of different stuff you can play. So what I am going to do is I'm going to show a few of those progressions, or whatever you want to call it. So let's close out of the browser over here. Cool. So now we can kind of see the piano roll along with seeing some of these chords. So how we're going to read it is, remember that the first line is major, and so we can look at the word and then look at the numbers, because it's no other way for me to get it up on the screen. So let's do that. So it says 047. So what the hell does that mean? Basically, it's saying we're in C major, so 0, right? Or you can say 1, however you want to look at it. So it says 0. So that's one note here. And we can say, okay, 1 or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in C major, this is the first note in the scale. This is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The reason why it's 047 is because you're using C as 0. That's the foundation. Then you play the fourth note, then the seventh note. Cool? That's a chord. Copy, paste, down 2 octaves. This is a C major chord. Right? So, like it said, it's a major. Now, if we did 0, 3, so let's do this. So we have 0, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, shift this down, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is not C major anymore, right? This is a minor chord. Not sure of what scale. We can say C minor, but that doesn't mean that it's C minor is the scale. This is just the chord. So if we play this, now we have a minor chord. If we copy, paste, drop this 2 octaves for a root note, C minor, or a C minor chord. Cool. So basically, like I'm saying, the 0 is just representing the starting point, right? So this is C, and we'll stick with majors for right now, and we'll do a separate video with all the minor stuff, right? So this is C major, just C major. Cool. If we take this, shorten this up, and do the same exact thing. So now we're going to do C major 7. So we have 0, 4, 7. Now we have 11. So all you have to do is count. 8, 9, 10, 11. Cool? C major regular and C major 7th. Cool. So C major 7th. Basically, when you go up to C major E 11th, or in this situation, it's saying C major 6th. Basically, all you are doing is bringing this down, right? So you have 0, 4, 7, 9 instead of 11. So let's go. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's delete this. Started wrong. I said 1. I meant 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, this is where stuff gets tricky because you will probably say, that sounds wrong. It sounds out of key, but it's not. You have to understand that there are certain genres of music where this sounds right, you know, but in the modern, you know, the typical modern era, we typically use stuff that looks familiar. Stuff like this looks familiar. This looks familiar. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to be skeptical about it. I typically don't use 11th and 6th and, you know, diminished and augmented chords and stuff like that. The stuff that you see, I don't really use that type of stuff because that's not for our genre of music. So we typically tend to focus on major, minor, or major 7ths and minor 7ths. A lot in dancehall, we typically don't go outside of that. So we'll focus on that. And this goes for any key. Because basically, if I were to move, you know, this up to D, it's just now a D major and a D major 7th chord. Nothing changes. It's just the same thing. Just like if I were to go here and move the whole entire thing up. Now this is just C sharp major. Nothing changes. The difference is when moving a scale and moving just some notes, moving a scale, you can move all over the place. You can put a scale anywhere because at the end of the day, that's just the foundation. Moving actual notes is where stuff gets tricky because if I move this G, let's go up to something more pleasant on the A's. So if I move this G major chord right here, from here, and move it here, and I'm playing a different instrument, but that instrument is still in the key of C major, but then I move this out of the key and put it in another key, then we have issues. So it's not like, yeah, you can just take this and fling it anyway. No, it don't work like that. You still have to kind of remember to keep in the key that you choose. If you don't like the key where you're working at, just change the key. You understand what I say? Don't try change one chord to a different key because sometimes it may sound good, of course, sometimes, but at 90% of the time, it will sound like shit. So you always want to keep that in mind. So kind of using this philosophy, we could basically now start building chords. So we are in C major. So let's make C major chord again. So we'll go C, E. So that's 0, 4, 7, right? So building on that, we can either go down or up. So typically, I don't really like to go to the next note down. I like to go one note like that and go down. Cool. So if I go here and I realize that, let's shorten this up. This is too long. So if I go down and I realize like, okay, cool. This is looking a little bit too steep. Like if I wanted to, you know, recreate the melody or whatever, if I wanted to just play all major chords, this is another thing. You have to understand the difference between major and minor. Sometimes you'll be trying to play like, this is a major chord because it has 3 in between these 2 notes, right? If I were to play this is a minor chord because it has 2. But just because, you know, it has 2 doesn't mean that it wouldn't work. This wouldn't work because this is basically just 2, 2. It's not going to work. I'm not a music theory person. I cannot explain it. But if you use the ears, you just can tell. It just doesn't fit. Now, in another genre, it probably could fit, but it just doesn't fit this one. So if I were to move this down here and then put this here, that sounds much better than having it the other way around. Let's slow this tempo down to 100. So let's listen again. Cool. You just play to what fits and what you are trying to accomplish. So a lot of times you may say, all right, so let's say we go here, but then, like I said, it doesn't work. It's not uncommon for you to see something like this. But no, this has 4 and this has 2. This won't always work, but sometimes it will, because this is no different. This having 4 here is no different between me putting this here and putting this note here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. What happened? Basically, we just doubled the distance between the notes, because remember, initially we had this, which had 2 notes in between, and this, which had 3 notes in between. So now we have 6 notes in between and 3 or 4 notes in between the other. So we basically double the distance. And it doesn't sound bad. If we add a root note, you know, it's pretty much you know what I'm saying? It's not uncommon to see stuff like that. So a lot of the times, like I said, I like to listen and hear it by ear. If it sounds wrong, then I know it's wrong. Cool. That's how I build my cards and, you know, approach all of that type of stuff. There are like tons of card codes online where you can figure out like basic like card progressions and stuff like that. Like you'll hear people say like 1, 5, 7, 11 and all that type of stuff, you know, and that is the stuff that I use to kind of get comfortable with making and creating cards and eventually, you know, getting to where I am, where I'm like really comfortable with just going in and drawing in some cards based on what I am hearing in my head. You know, like if I were to go to Google and type in, let's just type in famous card chord progression. Here we see 1, 4, 6, 4. Or no, 1, 5, 6, 4. Basically, what this means, when you see 1, instead, notice this is saying 0, but when you see 1, that is referring to the first note in the key. So if I were to go back into this C major progression thing back here, and let's delete that. Let's just put one single C major scale back here. So what this is basically saying is you have 1, let's go back to it. So we have 1, 5, 6, 4. Cool. So that's meaning 1, 2, wait. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll put this here, 6. And then we come back to 4. This is basically telling you the root for every card. So now it's up to you to fill out the cards. Remembering what I just said, a major card will have 3 notes in between. Immediately as you put a note here, you see that that's wrong. Put a note here, it looks much better. So let's fill this out. So we have, this is the 1, C major basically. This is the 5. Remember, we only had the 1 back here, so what we can do now is kind of just expand on that. Just for visual purposes. I know where I'm putting it, but just so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So we have 1, 5, then we have 6, which is a minor card. As you can see, the very next note up is wrong, and the next note after that is also wrong. So it has to be a minor card. Cool. So we have major, major, minor, and then this card will be a major, as you can see. And if you look, a lot of the times, a lot of these cards, especially in a progression, a lot of the cards will have like a pretty much like a partner in crime type of situation, like where 2 notes or 3 notes in a progression will be pretty much the same exact thing in different cards, and you'll see that as we go along. So we have F, A, and then G. So you can kind of see that basically all this is similar, just an inversion. So this is basically this exact card here with this one inverted down to create a different progression, because now instead of F being the top, it is the root. So if we play this progression, what is it? 1, 5, 6, 4. Cool. So let's copy all of these, drop them 2 octaves. We have now and just because it's like this doesn't mean that you have to leave it like that. So it doesn't have to be 1, 5, 6, 4. It could be 1, 6, 5, 4 or 1, 4, 6, 5. It's all up to you. And like I said, once you become way more comfortable with this stuff will just become a breeze. I don't use card codes and all of that stuff anymore. I just play by ear. You know, I don't want this video to drag on too long. So I will, you know, save this project here and continue in the next video where we continue to expand on chord codes and stuff like that. So until next time, it's your boy Itz-Beez-Da, the TrackStar. Peace.